Today we're going to talk about a platinum-selling rapper with a very interesting backstory.
And his name is John Cena!
Yes, once upon a time, the former professional wrestler turned Hollywood actor who starred in movies like Blockers and The Suicide Squad was also a successful hip-hop artist. Guys like Lupe Fiasco and Waka Flocka never had an album sell that much, and then some major players in the game like ScHoolboy Q and Mac Miller have also gone platinum a total of 1 time, so it's not an easy accomplishment. As a YouTube music critic that grew up watching this guy punch people in the face, today we're going to talk about his history, what led to his success in rap, and then we'll do more of a critical review of his stuff. Was it actually any good, or did it just sell because he was the face of this massive company for over a decade? John Felix Anthony Cena was born in West Newbury, Massachusetts in 1977. After playing football in college and earning a degree in exercise physiology, Cena moved to California to pursue bodybuilding while working as a limo driver. There he started training to become a professional wrestler, and now's the time to talk about gimmicks. The world of pro wrestling is fascinating. It's this bizarre combination of theater, athletics, and entertainment where you, the viewer, should go into it looking to enjoy a scripted TV show rather than a boxing match. There are heroes, villains, everything in between, and while there are plenty of buff, hot people whose thing is that they are buff and hot, there's also a huge variety of more obscure characters. It's just as normal to see guys like Randy Orton, who is simply a charismatic guy, fighting alongside Goldust, who is like this suggestive androgynous alien or something. There was Mankind that was some deranged freak that lived in the boiler rooms of the stadiums. There are pimps and superheroes, snake wranglers, Elvis impersonators, dead men walking, and so on. When John Cena initially got to the WWE, his gimmick was this somewhat robotic embodiment of quote-unquote ruthless aggression. He played this role for a few months, but unfortunately, upper management was planning on firing him due to his character not catching on. He was too vanilla, too boring, etc. Then, on one fateful night, the WWE bus was on the road, and Cena heard some wrestlers like Rikishi and Rey Mysterio freestyling over hip-hop instrumentals to pass the time. John was a rap fan and felt comfortable doing improv, so he joined the group and began rapping. Everyone around them started paying attention, clapping along, having a good time, and Cena's skills caught the eye of Stephanie McMahon, the daughter of the owner of the company, who was sitting a few rows in front of them. She asked John how he was able to memorize all of that stuff. He explained that he came up with everything off the top of his head. She was stunned, told him to freestyle about her dinner that she was eating. He did so with flying colors, and the rest was history. The ruthless aggression Cena transformed into the Doctor of Thuganomics Cena. Yes, that's really what his nickname was. John adapted this stereotypical rapper persona, complete with the outfit, the swagger, but what's really impressive about this is that he would continue to freestyle week in, week out. He would rap about whatever city they were performing in that night, and then do these battle rapper-esque roast takedowns of his opponents before and after his matches. This made each and every show feel one of a kind. He was building a stronger relationship with fans all across the country, and in hindsight, it's a smart way to show off his humor, quickness, and personality. Back in the early 2000s, even companies as big as WWE were much less organized, if you want to say that, than they are now. And with so much of this job being improv skills on a microphone anyway, it's absolutely believable that John was coming up with all of his raps completely on his own, and I think that's admirable. So when it comes to reviewing him as a rapper, this is a pretty unique capability. How many quote-unquote real rappers take that much time to make individual audiences feel special, and how many of them even have the ability and confidence to freestyle this much to begin with? I understand that he's not most deaf or something, but the art of the freestyle can mean a lot to certain corners of the hip-hop world. It's definitely synonymous with more old-school listeners, and this aspect of John's rapping attributes would be enough to give him a thumbs up from plenty of rap fans, and that's worth mentioning. It's funny talking about this and remembering that he is a talented actor, because being able to improv a scene and freestyle over a beat obviously have to be connected. Like Will Ferrell and Steve Carell could probably freestyle really well if they tried. Anyways, after around 3 or 4 monumental years as being a wrestling rapper, Cena's debut album You Can't See Me dropped in 2005 through WWE Music Group and Columbia Records. The project debuted at number 15 on the Billboard charts, selling 143,000 copies in its first week, which is decent for anybody, let alone a full-time wrestler. In comparison, Common's B, which dropped a couple weeks later and was one of the top hip-hop releases of that year, debuted at number 2 and sold 185,000 first week, so not too far off. As I mentioned before, this album ended up going platinum a few years later, which, P.S., to keep things in perspective, is something that Common's B never did. When it comes to whether or not the record had any quality, I'll say that they put a lot more effort into the music than the album cover. If you're gonna know any of these songs, it'll be the opening track, The Time Is Now, which was John's theme song for the WWE, and has the very famous dun, 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 dun. While the hook on this song is undeniably catchy, good or bad, I think the instrumental is A+, and I'm glad I spent the time looking into this because Jake One, a real working hip-hop producer, made this beat and a few more on the album. For those who don't know Jake by name, he's worked with MF Doom, Pusha T, J. Cole, Chance, Cardi, and he also has this funky dance pop group with Mayor Hawthorne called Tuxedo that you should really check out. When it comes to the verses, we have Cena, who delivers pretty average, braggadocious lyrics through okay flows. There are nods to his superiority as a wrestler, the fact that he makes a lot of money, he's famous, he doesn't give up, and so on. It's what you would expect, but I need to hammer home the fact that it's definitely listenable. The aspect that I didn't like as much with the album is the guy that's featured on every track, the Trademark, who is John Cena's cousin that wanted to be a professional rapper. As I went through the track list, I kept getting surprised with just how competent the beats were, how John was relatively enjoyable to listen to with each song, but then this guy is just a buzzkill. We have one person that clearly understands that all of this was more for fun than anything. He's not changing the world with lyrics like, "First and foremost, I sure post potential like Carmelo. Turn a hard MC to jello. Make their skin yellow with fear while staying mellow and clear. Man, we in for one hell of a year, yeah." That's cool. It's good enough that if some average rapper from the mid-90s to early 2000s spit that, I think it would blend in just fine. But then this guy, the Trademark, raps about how he's a philosopher first, rapper second, and the illusion of me having a good time with this gets shattered. I say this a lot, but when it comes to music, movies, whatever, I'm able to enjoy something a lot more when the art knows what it is. When I hear John rapping on this album, I get the impression that it's almost a satirical or exaggerated look at the bling era of rap, made by a guy that genuinely cares about this culture. For a professional wrestler doing a rapper gimmick, this is better than it has any right to be. Not to say that I would listen to it if it wasn't made by John Cena. It's sort of a novelty thing, and it's hard for me to not think of it in that way. But his cousin, that for some reason keeps repeating his full name and acting like this album is something that it's not, makes me way less interested. The song Right Now is a perfect example. With a sped up soul sample, old home movies playing in the music video, and lyrics about growing up, this is basically Kanye's Family Business, which is hilarious. John Cena, the You Can't See Me, word life, chain gang wrestler, made his own family business. For me, I'm letting my guard down thinking that this is all an elaborate prank, but when he starts rapping, "Excuse me for a minute while I lighten the mood, just clap with me like the lightning do, yeah, a bit of soul food that you be biting into, and if you feel me then I'm writing for you, It's kind of good in this very weird, silly way, but the last thing I want to do is take it seriously, and that's what I'm forced to do when Mark hops back on the mic. Context and intention is important for me, and this whole project is a paradox when it comes to that stuff. You get to Just Another Day, and it's literally this back and forth duet about how rich Cena is and how poor his cousin is. I'm dead serious, and this is one of the other tracks produced by Jake One. The deeper I dove into this album, the more I started to think of it as this avant-garde performance art, which, me saying that is kind of a joke, and kind of not. Keep Frontin' has genuinely one of the strangest hip-hop verses I've ever heard, featuring the lines, "I'm telling you, on screen, screen, screen with these flicks, catch me on the scene, scene, scene with 3 chicks, I fuck like a fiend with 3 dicks, fuck a 16 teen, I'm just sick.
Huh?
I don't know if I'm more confused by this rhyming pattern or the fact that he just admitted to a crime. This Is How We Roll has throw me a and call me Kobe cause you know that I'ma beat the case. I buy some land and never even seen the place. Vegetarian chicks go on giving meat a taste. Throw away money like I hate on loot. Copped your CD, it sounds great on mute. Words turn them to dust, making MCs disintegrate. My name get traffic like the California interstate. What? We've got incredibly offensive bars, some that are laugh out loud puns, and others that are so far-fetched that even he questions what he said at the end of the line. And I think that's a perfect note to wrap this video up on. At the end of the day, if nothing else, John Cena and the trademarks You Can't See Me is entertaining. For crying out loud, there's a song that samples Eric Clapton's Cocaine on this thing. You could do a whole case study on this revolving around satire, the music industry, consumerism, cultural appropriation, and so on, but looking at it purely as this outlandish thing that happened one time, it's kind of a masterpiece. It's the pro wrestling equivalent of outsider music, and I'm glad that it exists. John Cena would eventually climb to even higher heights in the WWE as he transitioned the rapper gimmick into this superhero of the everyman that was also connected to the military or something, but his one rap album that went platinum lives on. Check it out, let me know what you think of it, and I'll see you next time. Hey, thank you for watching that video. If you want to support the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at WrenchIHS. You can buy my merch, support my Patreon, and thank you again. I'll see you soon.